The movie starts with the poster of a girl on which it is written, "Do you care?" We see Cherie, a young single mother who works as a secretary at a law firm in Los Angeles. We see her talking with the HR manager and telling him her concerns about the missing girls who are working in the company. The HR manager convinces her that she doesn't need to worry about anything, as these are all tactics for defaming the firm. We see different women working at the same place in the context that these are all the girls that went missing, and finally we see Cherie sitting at the same desk. On her way back from work, Cherie gets a panicked phone from her boss James, accusing her of double booking him for dinner with a major client and his anniversary dinner at the same time. Cherie states she has no memory of doing so. Cherie hesitantly agrees when James asks her to attend the dinner with this client. When she reaches home while taking shower, she realizes that her period has been started and she is out of tampons. The babysitter, her friend, suggests that she should dress in something sexy. She reached the house of the client named Ethan. Cherie is charmed by the dazzling personality of Ethan. Ethan offers her a drink. While sipping her drink, Cherie notices a drop of blood on the floor, which she wiped from her finger, and asks Ethan to use the restroom. Ethan takes Cherie for dinner where they are having a nice time when all of a sudden a dog attacks Ethan, on which he gets furious and screams at the dog. After this, he apologizes to Cherie and tells her that he was attacked by a dog when he was a child. Cherie made him see his daughter's pics, and Ethan praises her daughter and her as well. After returning from the dinner outside Ethan's home, Ethan offers Cherie a drink which she is reluctant to accept, as she has to return home and tomorrow she has to go to work. Ethan insists and says that he will wake her up and sets an alarm for 6:30 a.m. Cherie notices that he already has an alarm at 5:25 a.m. Ethan says it was set by mistake. They kiss, and Cherie enters the house. Ethan looks at the camera and stops by raising his hand, then he enters the house and closes the door behind him. After the door closes, screaming Cherie can be heard outside. The door opens and Cherie comes out crying and injured. She starts running and calls for help, but no one helps her. She starts running again and finds two women standing in front of a movie theater. She asks them for help. They call 911 for her. Despite Cherie's assertions that she was assaulted, the police take her into custody for public intoxication. Cherie meets a woman in the cell, who asks her what happened to her. When Cherie explains Ethan's assault to her, she becomes terrified and tells Cherie that Ethan will hunt her and find her, as she is a marked woman now and that she cannot escape him as he controls men. She also tells Cherie that she must seek the First Lady if she wants to save herself. The woman screams and asks the police officers to transfer her to another cell, and claims that Cherie attacked her. After some time, Ethan enters Cherie's cell, and she gets petrified. Ethan offers Cherie a deal that if she survives the night he will leave her and let her live. When she comes out from the police station, she finds a missing woman's flyer lying on the ground, and it is written to call the First Lady. She takes a cab to go to James' house. The cab driver tells her she is not the only woman he has picked up in such a bad condition. Cherie goes inside the house of James. He seems empathetic and says that he didn't have any idea that Ethan will do such horrible things to her. He asks his wife Judy to make tea for them and wants to call Ethan to ask him why he has done horrendous things to her. But Cherie asks him not to call him and tells him that she is at James' home. James' wife is preparing tea for them with trembling hands. James offers Cherie to stay for the night at James' house, on which his wife makes harsh noise while cutting the lemon. Cherie notices this and asks him if she could use the shower. James offers her to use his office shower. After cleaning herself, Cherie opens up James' laptop and searches the calendar on the date of February 7th. She finds an appointment note for Ethan with Cherie. She then searched the calendar for Ethan tithed with blank space and a lot of appointments having different women's names pop up on the screen. Judy enters the room and tells her that Ethan can smell her blood, as one's blood is a very powerful fragrance. And if she wants to survive, she should clean herself as much as possible. This is when James enters the room and asks what is happening. Judy tells him that she is just giving Cherie clean clothes. Cherie thanks Judy and says to James that she should leave, as she has asked her ex-boyfriend Trey to pick her up. James says that Trey is not good for her and she shouldn't go with him, but Cherie runs down the building and catches a bus. She asks the female bus driver if she could use her phone. The bus driver gives her the phone. Cherie sends Trey a message to pick her up as she is in trouble. While she was on the phone, Cherie saw another poster of a missing woman on which it is mentioned to call the First Lady. Cherie gets off the bus at a gas station to buy some tampons. She pays for the tampons in exchange for her watch, and went into the bathroom across the street to wear tampons. While she was in the bathroom, someone tried to open the door. When she comes out of the bathroom, Ethan was waiting for her. He grabs her and throws her across the wall. He looks into the camera and nods in no, and we see a homeless man sitting nearby and hearing Cherie's screams but isn't doing anything. The store boy from where Cherie had bought tampons comes out with his gun to defend her, but Ethan looks at him and tells him to go away, and the man runs away from there. When Ethan turns to Cherie, she hits him and runs away. She meets Trey across the street. Trey asks her what had happened to her and where she wants to go. Cherie tells him vaguely. She is petrified seeing every person on the way. Cherie tells him that she wants to go to his house. Trey asks her where is their daughter. She tells him that she is with the babysitter and is safe with her. Trey tells her that her ex-best friend Dawn, who is now her girlfriend, is at his home. Cherie sees a shadow in the dark who looked like Ethan, and gets terrified. They hear a gunshot. Cherie asks Trey not to go out, but he gets out of the car to see what has happened. Cherie is alone in the car. Suddenly the door opens and she gets petrified. It's Trey. He tells him that it was nothing. Cherie wants Trey to get in the car, but he wants to know first what has happened to her and why she is injured and terrified. Cherie finally tells him about Ethan, that he had attacked her and now he is chasing her. Trey gets back in the car and asks for the address of Ethan and if it was a date. Cherie tells him that it was a meeting that became a date. They reach Trey's home. Dawn storms out of the house in anger, but upon looking at Cherie's condition she becomes empathetic and takes her inside. Inside the house, there are some friends of Dawn. Cherie asks Dawn to use the restroom to clean herself. Cherie asks Trey to buy her some tampons. He says that he will bring them for her. He also says that what she did was not her fault. After cleaning herself, Cherie asks Dawn's son Nolan, a tarot card reader, if he can read tarot cards for her. He reads the cards for her and asks her if she goes to church. She says no. Nolan says that she should go to church. He also tells her that she is strong and resilient. At this moment the doorbell rings. It is Ethan looking for Cherie. Cherie asks Dawn not to open the door, but Dawn asks her to let her do this for her. She also asks her to go inside and take Nolan with her. Cherie goes inside and hides in the bathtub with Nolan. They hear lots of noises and gunshots. When the noise stops, Cherie gets out to see what has happened. She sees the dead bodies of Dawn and her friends, and Ethan enjoys the music. He then takes her hand and starts dancing with her while Cherie is crying. In the meanwhile, Trey, who went outside to buy tampons for Cherie, returns. Ethan takes Cherie out of the house. Cherie begs Trey not to say anything, but as Trey tries to ask if Ethan was the person who assaulted her, Ethan chops his head off from his teeth. While Cherie is terrified, Ethan stares at her holding Trey's head in his hand. Cherie starts running and Ethan follows her. She sees that Ethan is standing at the end of the tunnel in which she is running. Suddenly a car comes and hits Ethan. Cherie looks in disbelief. The body of Ethan starts moving even after the deadly hit. Cherie remembers Judy's advice and throws her tampons on a moving car. Ethan gets up and looks in the tunnel but can't see Cherie and walks away. Cherie sees a church and enters it. She asks the priest for a cross and holy water. The priest asks why she needs these, and she tells him about Ethan. The priest asks Cherie to confess her sins. She is surprised by what the priest is saying. While they are talking, Cherie realizes that she is bleeding, and says that he has arrived, but the priest says that it's only them. Cherie takes some steps and sees the real priest lying on the floor in the pool of his blood. She turns around to see that Ethan is standing there. She is in disbelief and says to him that he can't be in the church. Ethan says that why can't he, and that he loves cathedrals. Cherie throws holy water on him. Ethan screams and then starts laughing. He says to her, "Did you think holy water can take me down?" Cherie says, "I don't believe in you." Ethan transforms himself into a demon. Cherie is terrified and screams. Ethan tries to choke her, but the old priest, who was not dead, attacks him, and asks Cherie to escape from the tunnel inside the wall of the church. Ethan drags the priest while Cherie enters the tunnel. It's all dark. Cherie hears screams. She gets out of the tunnel and sees stairs. It's a disco. She enters the bathroom to clean herself, and finds bleach wipes. She wipes her blood and cleans herself. She gets out of the bathroom and once again sees the flyer of a missing girl. She tears the part where the phone number of the First Lady is mentioned. Cherie steals a cell phone and calls on the number mentioned on the flyer, and says that she wants to meet the First Lady. When she tries to get out, some goons try to harass her. Two girls come from nowhere to save her and take her to their car. These girls are very cheerful and say that this year is Women's Year. They also tell Cherie that at 5:25 a.m. the sun will rise. The girls are dancing in the car with joy. Cherie notices blood on her forehead. All of a sudden there is a horrible accident and there is all dark. There are dead bodies of all the girls that were in the car with Cherie. We see Ethan coming towards Cherie, who is in the car. He says to Cherie that when she is dead he will take good care of her daughter, and grabs her out of the car. A dog comes from nowhere and barks at Ethan. It jumps at him and Ethan disappears. The dog comes near Cherie and shows affection to her. Cherie gets up and sees all the destruction around her and breaks down and screams. She starts walking along with the dog. The dog takes her to a building. Cherie enters the building. A woman takes her inside, where there is red light all over. She sees a lot of women lying in beds. A lady welcomes her. Cherie asks her if she is the first lady. She answers that she can call her Dina. Dina asks her to give her blood in a small bottle which will be mixed with water and poured into the drainage pipes. This way Ethan will smell her everywhere. Cherie hands over the blood to Dina. Cherie asks Dina how she knows that Ethan can smell Cherie. Dina tells her that she was sent into the world to stop Ethan, and that Ethan's job was to protect and guide humanity, but he made sure that men stay in power and oppress women. This has happened throughout history. But now the balance of power is shifted, and it is time to end his ruthless power regime. Cherie asks her if she is an angel. Dina replies that she is the first angel. Dina says that we will take him down tonight, and she should lure Ethan out so they can hunt him down. Cherie says that she is not going out again at any cost. Dina says to her that she is very special and she is the only one that has made it this far in the night. Cherie says why can't Dina go out and hunt Ethan? Dina says that because she can't bleed. Cherie says that she will not go out there again. Dina tries to convince her by saying that if she doesn't help Dina in taking down Ethan, he will go after Cherie's daughter. So what does she choose? Hide or kill Ethan and end his atrocities? Cherie agrees to go and fight Ethan. Women clean her. She gets dressed and heads out to hunt Ethan. She arrives at an abandoned mall. She keeps rocks all over the mall and paints the windows with black spray paint. Then she opens her wounds so that Ethan can smell her. All of a sudden the lights of the mall are open and the merry-go-round starts by itself. Ethan appears from nowhere and bangs Cherie's head onto a mirror. Cherie faints. She dreams of herself with her daughter playing and riding in the same merry-go-round. Ethan wakes Cherie from her dream. She has been crucified. She notices a rock nearby and says Ethan to let her go as she knows that she has no chance against him, and he can have her. He takes her down from the crucifixion and tries to be intimate with her. Cherie tries to get hold of the rock which is near her foot. In the meanwhile, Ethan's alarm of sunrise rings, and Cherie takes the rock in her hand. Ethan grabs her hand quickly and says to her that is she trying to trick him? Cherie manages to break the window with the rock. When the sunlight hits Ethan's face, he gets aside and says that she wanted to take him down with some rocks. Avoiding the sunlight, he tries to choke Cherie. Suddenly other rocks come inside, smashing the windows, and the place is all lit up with the sunlight. With all the sunlight, Ethan screams with pain and starts bleeding with a black substance coming from his eyes. He shouts at her, calling her bitch. Cherie takes the bucket full of rocks and breaks the window in front of Ethan, allowing all the sunlight to come onto him. With all this sunlight, Ethan screams in pain. We see Cherie out in the open and holding the camera. She makes the camera follow the trail of Ethan's black blood, and we see Ethan dragging himself. Cherie asks him what is his power, which is useless in the sunlight. Dina lights a lighter and throws it on Ethan's blood, which catches fire and leads to Ethan, finally burning him as he cries in excruciating pain. Cherie gets to the home of the babysitter and holds her baby in her arms, and the film ends.